Okay, what we're doing here is we're neck sizing some 6.5 creedmoor cases. So on this batch, what we're doing is we're neck sizing first. While we're neck sizing, we're also separating the brass after being neck sized by how concentric the mouth is to the case. And we're indicating off the OD of the case. So this is basically doing it this way, eliminates one step in the process and gives us brass that is separated by concentricity, and then from that point we can prepare our primer pockets and flash holes and burr the mouth of the case for accepting the new bullet. We do this in a two-step process. We have a Forster press, and we're using this is a Lee collet sizing die, and what it does is it has a collet in there. It's a split collet. I think it's got 4 slices in it. And the collet grabs down on the neck. The harder you press down on the handle, the tighter the mouth becomes. What I've been doing is turning the case in the press and then hitting it again on the die. So in this case, this is a 292 bushing. 292 bushing does not fit on the mouth right now. So let's run it in this press. Now, the way the press is set up, it's got the Lee die in it, and they tell you they want you to not allow the press to go into a cam over. You let it bottom out first half of the press action. What I also added on this press is it's got a torque wrench. I believe the instructions for the die says to limit your force on collet sizing at 35 foot-pounds. Don't hold me to that number, but I think that's what it says. And what I have set up here is I made an adapter that fits this torque wrench, that fits the handle on the press. It allows me to hit the case with the exact same force every time. So this is on breakover at 24 foot-pounds, which is less than what they recommend, but I'm doing a two-step. After I come out of this, I go into the Forster neck sizer bushing die. So here we go. And then I just rotate it a little bit, rotate the case again. And what this does is it allows you to come up and squeeze down on this neck at different locations. So if anything is out of round, maybe it's squeezing it back into the center. Hopefully that's what we're striving for. Let's get this thing set up. This is about the middle of the mouth. So right now, we're about 1.5 thousandths on that case neck. See if hitting it again will do anything. I also found sometimes if you sit and hold it under pressure, that it'll have an effect on it, on the case. Let's see where we're at now. About 1.5. There appears to be one spot right there. Maybe hitting it one more time, but before we hit it again, what we want to see, the 289 is going on it. I'm not going to hit it again, because I'm getting half engagement on a 289 bushing here. So that means that this neck is getting squeezed down. I don't want to go below 289 on my neck. I go from that point. This will fall into the 2000s. At that point, I just take it right to the Forster die, and I hit this 3 times as well, because the bushing's floating on it. So just in case it's a little bit off center, hitting it to 3 times, hopefully it'll bring things back into center. This is my final indication. About 3/10 over 1,000. But the 289, there's the 292. 289 goes on about halfway. So I got a separate batch of these for 289 neck, because that's going to have more grip on the bullet, so that might have an effect on how the bullet leaves the rifle. So I got a separate set of those for the 289 neck. Let's try another one. Again, we're back to the Lee. I'll hold a little bit longer on this one. Goes in a breakover. And then we just hold that tension for a little bit. Okay, so right now, the 289 does not fit on it. And this is within 1/1000th of an inch. It's about 9/10 thousandths of an inch. You're indicating and neck sizing all in one. So it eliminates a whole step. Because you still have to indicate, once the bullet is seated, that's when, you want to check your final concentricity. But my thought here is that the more concentric the brass is from the start. Alright, so we got 9/10 thousandths of an inch. The 289 does not fit it, so this goes into my 1/1000th bucket. Redding makes a set of match grade dies. It runs about $250 for that set. I was watching the 6.5 guys. I think that they went to the Redding dies. Okay, so this is just under 1.5 thousandths right now. Now after this, what will happen is the primer packets will get done, flash holes will get done, the mouth of the case. I was watching one of the videos on YouTube, and one of the guys was talking about, don't even bother neck sizing, you should just full length size every time. He was saying that F-class guys, that's what they do. They just full length size. They don't mess with neck sizing. And F-class, I mean, you're shooting for accuracy there. So I suppose the advantage of just full length sizing is your concentricity is going to be there because you just full length sized it. You might have to trim your brass length more often doing it that way. Concentricity every time should be true if you're using a good set of dies. So I've got a 290 bushing in this neck sizer. It's just over 1.5. So that's neck sizing. So now the next step on this brass is to prepare the primer pockets, the flash holes, and clean up the mouth on these things. And then after that, it'll be time to put primers in them, load some powder chargers, and then press the bullets into them. And while we're doing that, we'll check concentricity. Okay, we're preparing some primer pockets here. This is the 21st Century Primer Pocket Uniforming Tool. Next step is we're doing the primer pockets. And what I found basically is you hit it each time with a brush, and it takes 3 cycles to get it all the way down. I don't know if this is going to show up here. So, you know, there you have it. And like I say, what I'm seeing, you have to clean the chips off the cutter each time. Knock the chips out of the pocket, clean the chips off the cutter. You hit it again, same process. Clean the chips off the cutter. And then on the final one, you can finally see the base of the case meet up with the face on the primer pocket uniformer. The way I came up with the depth on this, now this one right here on the first cut is 100% clean. This depth was set by the case that had I guess required the most cleanup. So when I set that depth to keep everybody uniform, that's what it was set at. And this only has to be done once. Once it's done, you know, if these cases are going to last for 10 firings, for the life of the case, it has to be done again. These are all within 2,000ths concentricity, and the neck sizes are 290. So I'm going to use these cases to develop my optimum load. So when I come up with the optimum, I'm going to do a ladder test. 3 cases each loaded with a different powder charge. We'll determine what's the best velocity I'm getting, you know, when I get a plateau on the powder charge. Once I develop that, then I'll start working with bullet seating depth. So that's the primer pocket cutter from 21st Century. Next step is I'm going to deburr the flash holes. That's this tool right here. This tool is designed in such a way that the only actual cutting surface on this tool is there's a small angle right here that actually cuts. There's a pilot on it that locates the cutter in the flash hole, and this face of the cutter will sit and ride on once it touches the case, it does not cut. There's only a little chamfer right here that is actually the cutting face. This face here, or a depth stop, push it through, you get the pilot coming out the bottom down here. This thing gives a really nice curled chip. I don't know if this is going to show up on here. A real nice job at chamfering out the flash hole. Now what we have to do to all of these cases before we put primers in them is we'll fire up the air compressor and we'll blow each one of these cases out just to make sure that there's no chips in there. Probably the biggest downside of this tool, here you have to make sure you've got that pilot located inside the flash hole. On this side it's not hard, but when you're way down inside there, it does a nice job though. These cutters are also, they have a slip bushing on them, and that slip bushing, which is this section of the cutter right here, that slip bushing right there fits the mouth of the case really well. So that's how 21st Century kind of gets you. Each mouth size case that you're doing would require a different slip bushing on it. This is not an inexpensive cutter. I don't remember what it cost, but it wasn't cheap. Does a nice job, though. I think you got the idea. I'm going to continue on with these cases, and then we'll do the mouths on them, and then it'll be time to blow them out and put some primers on them.